And we're back. The Vacuous Perspective. I'm Val, joined always by my great pal, co-host. And I was going to come up with something else other than organ donor this week. I'm going to have to start coming up with lots of different ways to describe you. Have you got another one? And cyclist enthusiast.
Yeah.
Mate.
Sounds about right. I've got bikes on my mind because there was an Australian in the yellow jersey during the week.
Yeah, okay. And that's for the, explain to the folks at home what that means.
Oh, the yellow jersey, the maillot jaune, I believe it is in French, just means
the maillot jaune?
The maillot jaune.
Oh, yeah.
Means that you're leading the Tour de France in the general classification.
Yes.
Which is, if you add up your time over every stage that has happened so far, you've got the fastest time.
You're winning.
You're winning overall.
If it ends right now, you're the winner.
Yeah. You might not have won an individual stage. Like the current yellow jersey holder hasn't actually won a stage yet in the Tour de France, but on average, he has the best time over the whole course.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it because he'd be living in that pack. I see the pack every now and then. The Tour is a fucking nightmare, all right? Of what I've seen of it, right? It's always a nightmare. It's just pricks everywhere. And by pricks, I mean people, right? People everywhere running into the roadway. There's a bit where it's one bike thick. That's how many bikes can fit through this thing. There's a road, but there's people on the road. You've seen this.
Man, people are pricks. They are, particularly on the hills. That's when they really get excited and all gather around.
I think I read again because you did the Alpe d'Huez last year or sometime.
Yep.
Earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that that's the one that attracts the most amount of people because it matches up with a bit of a festival kind of thing. Mm. And they get upwards of 200,000 people to that one day, right?
They get a million
on the
Alpe d'Huez, yeah. On the French, last year on the French national holiday, Alpe d'Huez, yep, million people.
Mm. And so, not a lot of room to stand. Of course, you got to maybe just jump on the path.
Yeah, well, actually, it's been a bit controversial this Tour de France so far because there's been 2 spectators taking out cyclists already.
Taking them out, you mean like actually like just smashing them up and taking them out?
No, by accident, always accidental. It's
right.
Someone getting too enthusiastic. People just lose their mind.
Is that an accident?
I think the person
losing your mind is an accident.
One person set up the accident that I'm thinking of that I actually saw is someone set up a couple of jerseys that were hanging off a string and they were just off to the side of the road, but it was quite unlucky, but it broke just when the peloton was going through and then it caught up with one of the cyclists and he came off. He got back on his bike, but he was unimpressed.
Wow.
He had a bit of skin off his elbow and
nothing
whatnot.
He hasn't dealt with before, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the last thing you need because recovering from those road rash, those gravel rash injuries actually takes a lot of energy.
True.
So that they do suffer 2 or 3 days after an accident like that. They're actually really struggling. Because, man, they lose kilos over the course of the Tour de France and they're light. They're light already coming in.
Yeah, and it's 25 days odd, right?
Yeah, I think it's 21 stages. Yeah, it's a day off tonight. There's no cycling.
Right.
But a WA boy was in the yellow jersey for all but one day, but he's from Midland.
There you go.
Or at least he competes with Midland.
Shout outs. Yeah.
Shout outs, yeah.
He's leading he was leading. Is that the case?
Yeah, he's 3rd at the moment.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It's nice because there's 2 main favourites and he's not one of them. So he's put himself square. He's 3rd at the moment and is likely to be on the podium, which is very good for Australian cycling. Very good.
Wow. And how old is he?
I don't know, actually. He's older than 23. He's young. I'm going to guess he's 25. Jai Hindley is his name.
Okay.
He won a pretty serious cycling event last year, the Giro d'Italia.
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird if he was leading the Tour and just came out of nowhere, right? That would make no sense.
Yeah, he's got the right pedigree. Yeah, they knew going in there.
Yeah, missed an opportunity there. He has the right pedigree.
And they started actually. He got the yellow jersey starting in Pau. Do you remember I went to Pau last year?
Oh, okay.
southern France. So I felt I was watching the stage and felt somewhat connected with it.
Yeah, but what about the Alpe d'Huez? Has that happened yet?
They're not doing that one this year. They're not.
They
that
skip
hasn't
it.
made the. Yeah, they mix it up.
What a bummer. That's the one that you'd feel connected with the most in that you've ridden it, right?
I haven't ridden the Alpe d'Huez, actually. I was just getting excited for the stage last year because I knew how big it was going to be. It was going to be Party Mountain.
I'm so confused. You did one of the trails of the tour, right?
I did the Tourmalet, and Jai Hindley blew up on the Tourmalet in the yellow jersey.
Right.
That's when he lost it.
Oh, right. That's the bit with the big uphill and the big downhill, right?
Yeah, 20 Ks.
How long are you downhill for where you don't have to pedal?
20 Ks downhill.
20 Ks of not pedaling.
Yeah, and they'll probably be averaging about at least 80.
80?
I'd say.
It's not the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Maybe averaging above 70 anyway. Let's put it that way.
You know the guys that do those mountain cruises on the longboards and just look like they're dodging death at every second? Have you seen these fucking idiots?
Seen bits of it. Yeah, those
Jesus.
longboards. Right. So those they don't go side. They don't. Do they kick those out sideways and slide?
Do.
Yeah,
they do.
I've seen that.
It's the scariest shit ever. That's how they slow down. I'd just fly straight off the front. You'd imagine.
Man, that stuff's nuts because there's competitive, right?
Yeah, and I guess when you're competing against yourself and you want to go really fast, that's almost scarier.
Oh, that is. But when there's someone else on the road, like I saw one and there was 4 guys overtaking each other, and it was for, I don't know, some race.
Yeah, but again, the people who are doing it out in the real world are guerrilla doing it. They're just getting out there. There's cars.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
There's
That's
cars
worse than someone else.
Yeah. It's something worse than someone being on your tail. Is a fucking 1-ton piece of metal on the road that can potentially kill you.
It doesn't know you're there.
No, and it doesn't know you're fucking going that fast either. It's pretty wild.
That's too much of a thrill for me. I like a little bit of a thrill. Like that is extreme thrillage, and I'm not about it.
Yeah, you've got sort of just a nice trip down to the park on a Sunday, and then on the other end of the scale, you've got those base jumpers who go through the little holes in rocks. The guys who don't even have a parachute deployed. They're just falling at great speed and slightly going forwards through a fucking little circle in a rock out in the middle of nowhere.
They're just doing the flying squirrel, right?
Yeah. Gosh. Idiots.
Yeah, no, look, I'm not about that. I'm not about the downhill. But, cycling bike, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, they're going quite fast, especially in that downhill section that we just talked about. But it did remind me of that. There's a Thrasher episode where Nuge goes down. He's this skateboarder. He goes down the steepest hill in LA, or sorry, in California. They find it. They Google it. They found the steepest hill. And you see him doing that slow down thing when he's, going sideways.
Kicks the board out to the side. Yeah, okay. This is a guy.
Wash a little bit of speed.
What's his name?
Nuge. Nuge.
Noob.
G.
Nah, I like noob.
Noob.
Yeah, I think I've seen
it. It's pretty scary. Yeah. He does it. He has to get through a tiny area of the road where there's cracks on either side, and if you hit that, I mean, it's not good. And while he's walking up, he tells the story. While he's walking up, he's got his board and he's walking up, and there was a car driving in the opposite direction with a little girl in the back seat, and she just out the window just says, "You're gonna die."
Perceptive little thing.
She's probably seen it before. She lives on the hill. She knows the dangers. She's well aware of the dangers. She's been told since a very young age, if you go down the hill on any amount of wheels apart from a car, dead. This is that hill that famously had the bus, wheels up on the other side, just couldn't. There's no wheels connected to the ground at the crest of the hill. It's just balancing there. Couldn't
same
do.
one. Same hill. Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, the cracks are the problem on that one, from what I understand, because you can't see them from when they just film it. You just think, probably you just assume it's a well-conditioned road, but that thing was rough as guts.
Nah, it's really rough. I'm sure it's hard to maintain. or maybe they just don't spend any money on their roads. I don't know. I wonder what it's like now because it's had a bit of press. Maybe they've fixed it up a bit. Maybe it's not as
maybe the
deadly
local
anymore.
council realises that they're going to have this wave of copycat skateboarders, and they're thinking, man, we're going to be liable. They've at least got signs up saying, don't do that.
Have they?
Surely.
Okay. You think that
because what happens is it just takes one person to be injured or do something silly before the council think, it's foreseeable that someone's going to do something like this. Therefore, we're liable if we don't create a safe environment.
Well, a bit of homework for me then. I'll jump on Google Earth. I'll go down at Street View. I'll check it out. I'll see if there's any signs. I'll get some dates of when they were. And we'll try and solve this little mystery because I think it's worth solving. The Tour de France, though.
Yeah.
I had a list at the people who have died at the Tour de France. Have you read that list?
At the Tour de France?
Yes.
No, I wasn't actually. The wife was asking me about this not so long ago. No, I don't know. So people have died at the Tour de France. I assumed they would have, but I didn't know.
Yes, the most recent death was in 2009. So, what's that?
Really?
Yeah. 2009. Now, we're not talking about a racer. We're not talking about a racer in this case.
You're kidding me.
Stage 14, a spectator in her 60s was struck and killed by a police motorcycle while crossing the road near Wittelsheim.
That's not really a tour death.
No, I agree. But that's
just someone that died nearby.
Yes.
Yeah. Who was the last cyclist, or how many cyclists of competitors have perished?
Only 4.
That's still a lot.
Well, none since 1995.
So I assume they're all downhill accidents?
No. Well, yes. In 2 of the cases, they're very much downhill accidents. Yeah, we had one guy die of heart failure during the ascent of Mount Ventoux.
Ventoux, yeah, that's a big one.
Amphetamines were found in Simpson's jersey and blood.
Oh, okay.
So
all right,
that was a bloke named Tom Simpson, okay?
That's concerning. You think that probably contributed. I'm going to guess. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but they all had amphetamines in their system.
Right.
Or
1967.
Actually, that's pretty early, isn't it? All right. Maybe I don't know.
No, but everyone might have been doing that.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know what the cycling culture was like back then, yeah.
We have 1935, a Spanish racer named Francisco Capelda. Plunged down a ravine on the Col de Galibert.
Yeah, okay, a ravine.
So a bit of a downhill. Bit of a downhill incident, isn't it?
What is a ravine? Is it like a valley, a mini valley?
A ravine.
They always use a ravine. When people die, it's always into a ravine.
Yeah, but that's sort of a mountainous fall. A valley. Mountainous valley, perhaps?
I don't even know how to spell ravine.
R-A-V-I-N-E.
Oh, there you go. R-A-V.
Yeah, let's have a definition on it.
A-N-E. Ravenous.
No. R-A-V-I-N-E.
I-N-E, okay.
Ravini.
A deep, narrow gorge with steep sides. All right.
Gorge. Now we've got another word, which is exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Seems the same. Anyway, I got a gorge with some pretty treacherous sides, and we had a bloke die there. And then we had another one, 1910, a French racer, Adolphe Hellieri, drowned at the French Riviera during a rest day. So now not even a cycling-related one.
Oh, my God. During the rest day?
During the rest day of all times. He's drowned in the French Riviera.
No.
Not great.
All the cyclists look forward to the rest day.
Lovely day down at the French Riviera.
Oh, no. Uses over time. Ravine was not very popular around the 1800s. Then it really peaked around 1850. Very popular. Its use was about a 10-fold increase in use. And then that deteriorates to it looks like about in 2000s it was low. And then it slowly started to creep up again, but not what it was back in the 1850s. So it's not a popular term. I think we need to bring it back.
Someone must have died in a ravine-related thing, like in a gorge somewhere, in the 1850s that really popped it off, Or maybe there was a place called the Great Ravine. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was something to do with the gold rush or something, There was gold in the ravines.
In hills.
Yeah, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, okay, we can bring it back. I mean, I didn't think it was gone. I've heard the term, right? You've heard the term.
Yeah, I've heard the term, but only in cycling deaths. It's always a ravine. A guy died in the Tour de Suisse about 3 weeks ago.
Same thing, ravine?
Bloke. Yeah, into a ravine. And I was thinking, geez, these ravines, they need to avoid them. Maybe don't let the course pass any ravines. Just keep it to gorges, because no one dies in gorges.
Wow. No, people jump over gorges, like in The Simpsons, right? The Springfield Gorge.
Yeah, they just pop over the top of them
in the you know, on their skateboard. Bart did it on his skateboard, right?
Yes.
Or he wanted to do it, and then his dad says, "I'm going to do it because I'm going to show you how fucking dangerous it is, you little shit." And he goes and gets absolutely plastered by the ravine/gorge.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it does. But he was doing it to teach him a lesson.
That was a gorge. Lesson. That was a Springfield Gorge on that occasion.
Gorge.
So gorges can be dangerous.
Yes, but I think Bart could have handled it quite handily if he was allowed a bit of space. 1995, 18th of July, stage 15, Fabio Castelli crashed at 88 kilometers an hour while descending the Col de Porte Aspet.
Perfect pronunciation as well. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. I chose to just I'm having a go at all these.
Have a crack. Oh, better than me. I can't even spell ravine. At least you're having a crack with some French.
So I just clicked on that, the place where it was. I'm trying to get an idea of how dangerous they've got a little monument where he crashed. Oh boy, that's heavy.
Where who crashed?
This is the most recent death of a cyclist. 1995. Yeah. This bloke crashed at 88 kilometers an hour down this hill, and now they've got a little monument to Fabio down there.
I know guys that have been going down Kalamunda Hill and blown out their front tire. They said that their life was flashing in front of their eyes.
Flashing in front of their eyes, before their eyes,
before,
right?
Yes, wherever it flashes. I haven't been there.
They were seeing lights. They were seeing
their life, all aspects of it.
I got a bit of a story.
Yeah.
I was down south. It was around Christmas time. I was with the folks, and we go for a walk with the dogs, take the greyhounds for a walk. We go up this hill, and it's a pretty big hill. It's decent. And I've got this little penny skateboard. And if you don't know what a penny skateboard is, you can probably put 1 foot on it, long ways. And
sounds like a roller skate to me.
It's a tiny little board with nice wheels and quite nice to just cruise around on. And I'm just skating around. I'm pretty inexperienced skater. I'm just having a go every now and then. I'm not trying anything crazy. I don't do kick flips or anything. I'm not doing anything crazy. Right?
You took your penny board up the top of the big hill.
No, I'm just skating around. We're just taking the dogs for a walk.
Right.
So we get to the top of this hill, and my old man, who was a little bit inebriated at the time, he goes, "Give me the skateboard. I'll go down this hill."
Oh shit!
And I went, "Nah, don't do that. The hill's decent. Like, it's a decent incline, so you will pick up some serious pace if you took this hill on." And,
is this the kind of thing where you think about getting out your camera because you might witness something spectacular, but you're also concerned you'll be filming a serious accident?
Yeah, it probably.
Did it cross your mind?
It probably should have crossed my mind. But the other what really crossed my mind, what was actually going on in my mind was I thought, what he's going to do, because he had thongs on. He didn't even have shoes on. He just had thongs on. And so in my mind, I thought what he's going to do is he's going to get on, he's going to approach the hill, he's going to go down a little bit, and he's going to realize and just get off it straight away and realize that it's a bad idea. But that didn't happen.
No, that's not your dad. No, he's good.
No, he had a crack.
Yeah.
And, credit to him. He was doing okay to begin with.
Full credit. Absolutely. Yeah.
He was doing okay to begin with. He starts picking up at a bit of pace though. And then he realizes, Speed. I have to get off the board. A bit of a speed wobble maybe.
Yeah.
Got a bit speed wobbly and went, I've got to get off the board. So he did get off the board.
Did he think that he could run his way off the board?
Yeah, he gave that a go where he starts
everyone
running.
Thinks they can, yeah.
He starts running with his thongs on and he's sort of he's running. He's trying to run forward. He's just sort of on the spot.
And he would have a big stride. He'd have a big stride, your dad. So he's running downhill at this point in his thongs.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of momentum, a lot of forward momentum, and he just face plants onto the road. Nice road though. There are worse roads to face plant on. This was a nice smooth road. He wouldn't have attempted if it was one of those, gravelly style roads. It was a nice smooth road. But nevertheless,
beautiful. Sounds fantastic. Sounds beautiful.
Nevertheless, he was teed up. He didn't look great.
A bit of exfoliation, a bit of natural exfoliation.
I rolled him over. I saw a bit of blood on his head, like on his face. And I went, but he's okay. Which then allowed me to sort of get to the point where I could laugh about it.
Yeah, well, I was glad he's okay, but it sounds like a spectacular accident. Unnecessary, if I do say so. I appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
The bravery.
It's a good story though, isn't it? So what are you going to do?
YOLO, you know?
Yeah, I don't like YOLO.
No, I don't like the phrase, but it's the vibe.
Right.
It's like,
what about you only die once? Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah, that too. All the same.
Yeah, but people who say you only live once, therefore I'm going to do something incredibly risky, be that, risk in a physical sense, like I could get hurt here. They grip it, they rip it, they go through the little hole when they're base jumping in the squirrel suit. You know what I'm saying? They're YOLOing.
They're living. Yeah, they're living.
Oh,
briefly
for as long
living.
as they can. Yeah. It's sort of a
makes the time.
The
time that you are living more intense.
Yeah. You could live 1,000 lifetimes in 20 years.
You're compressing all the adrenaline you would otherwise secrete into your system. You're just condensing that all into about 5 seconds.
Yeah. In other sport news.
Competitive endurance tickling.
What?
Competitive endurance tickling.
Is this on ESPN now? What are you talking about?
It was a documentary I watched.
Oh.
Called Tickled.
About tickling?
Yeah. And it gets pretty wild. You need to watch it.
Okay. Do I need to put this on my list?
Put it on your list.
Tickling? Come on, man.
No. Don't. No. It draws you in. It drew in a New Zealand documentary maker by how ridiculous it was, and then he starts getting a bit deep on it, and it goes places.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. I'll take your recommendation. I think I'm in.
Yeah, because I wouldn't otherwise recommend something as objectively ridiculous as competitive endurance tickling. It almost sounds like a bit of a front for something else.
Like a cult?
Well, competitive endurance tickling doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, how is that a sport?
You got to be good at tickling and good at not being able to be tickled, right?
So do you reckon you have to? How do you win? Is it
by knockout, right?
By not laughing, or like do they get exhausted from being tickled?
I have no idea. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
I did see the UFC on the weekend.
Oh, did you? I don't even know what happened.
It was massive.
There was a couple of Australians on the card.
A couple of Australians, and a Kiwi, and some other guys, and it was great.
Yeah, and give me a rundown, actually, because I'm a blank slate on this. Yeah,
okay. So the main fights, well, there was 2 title fights on the card.
The Volk?
Volkanovski fought Yair Rodriguez, by all accounts, the nicest guy in the world.
Oh, really? What's his name?
Yair Rodriguez. He's a Mexican martial artist. And he went through a murderer's row to get his interim featherweight title. So there was a unification bout between him and Alexander Volkanovski to decide who's the actual champ.
Why was it a reunification?
Because
what's going on?
Volkanovski went and fought for the belt above at lightweight. So the featherweights fought for an interim title, which is often how they do it.
Yep.
And then they unify those titles.
Okay. So, and this murderous row that you speak of, how many people did he neck? Just everyone, the whole division.
It's more about the quality of the people he beat.
Right. Okay.
Because he did lose to Max Holloway, but Max Holloway lost to Volkanovski 3 times now. So
they're done with him. Yeah. They're like, we can't put him up again.
Can't put him up again. Yeah. But he had some good wins. His win going into that one was actually in Perth in February. So set up this fight against
and who won?
Okay. So I'll just give you an overall of the card first.
How does Yair win? He said he's a nice guy. Does he just sort of hug him to death? What's he do? What's he game?
A friend of mine was telling me about Yair's frame of mind that he gets into. So he'll be shadowboxing or thinking about shadowboxing in a blank room. So you'd have to imagine just a very dark room, right?
Okay, all right.
And he will when he punches, he can see the lines of the direction of his strikes, right? He can see lines. So when someone opens up an angle, meaning they're guarding low or they're guarding their left or they're guarding their right, he can find these weird angles that nobody does.
Oh, so
nobody else strikes like he does. He's
a punching savant.
And kicking.
He's
and
a murderous
he'll do
savant.
a lot. He'll do a front flip wheel kick on you,
Right. So he's a bit of an artist.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. And like I said before, by all accounts, the nicest guy in the world.
Well, I mean, he's thinking about shadowboxing in a dark room. I don't know. That sounds the most passive fighting practice I've ever heard of.
Let's not question it though, because the guy's obviously good at what he's doing. Yeah, he's doing his thing. He's the man.
Absolutely.
No, but Alexander Volkanovski, they were clipping each other on the feet. It was
he likes a good punch, doesn't he?
I'm so confused by him. I've been watching him for years now because I always talk about him like every fight. I'm like, well, he probably can't beat this guy because this guy's really good, Every fight I'm just...
You just write him off.
He's got it. He can't do this.
Can't keep doing it.
He can't keep doing it. He's been doing it for ages and he just keeps doing it. So he did it again.
He did it again?
Yeah. And it was a very even fight until there was this one weird moment in the third round where I think he just looked at Yair's face and went, "Oh, hang on a sec. I fucking got ya." He saw it. He saw it in his face that he was beaten in his mind.
Just gave him the old dirty squint, did he?
Yeah, he just he gave him the Larry David, the hang on a minute.
The juicy eyeball, yeah. And that just...
he just fired up a sort of 4-piece combo that ended in a brutal takedown and then just probably you know how they do the punches when they're on the ground to try and get the ref to stop the fight via TKO?
Yeah.
He probably landed a good 25 of them before.
Were they actually doing damage though?
No, none of them landed.
You just show that the guy's not defending himself. You're like, I can do what I want on this guy. Look at me just raining down punches, even though I'm not doing any damage.
Yeah, a friend of mine asked me like, what happens there? And I just said, well, if he dropped his guard, and this sounds counterintuitive, but if he dropped his guard and took a punch, it shows that he's trying to do something, whereas covering up without, like, you're not even looking at the strikes.
You're giving up now. Yeah,
you've covered up. Like,
if all you can do. Is do defensive ball curl. I mean, how long? I mean, I know that there is the possibility when you're playing Pokemon of you can win. I think some people try to win the whole thing just by doing defensive ball curl with a Pokemon.
Yeah,
they get the Magikarp or something. Yeah,
there's a bit of a strat there, and I can tell you the history on that because your Pokemon has about a certain amount of PP, right? Which is like points that you use when you use an ability. So say you use an ability like mana, exactly. Yeah. When you run out of mana, you can't do the ability anymore. So it does this other thing where it struggles. It just sort of wriggles on the spot, and that can do little bits of damage to the other team.
That's different from covering up, isn't it? See, that's what the ref wants to see from you. A bit of a struggle, a bit of a wiggle on the ground. You can't just defensive ball curl your whole life. Yeah. Oh, so that's what happens. So you run out of ball curling, you run out of mana, and then you're just struggling.
Yeah, you're just wriggling on the spot and doing a little bit of damage. It's not much.
If you have, if I have Brock Lesnar, if I've got Brock Lesnar in full mount, right, and he's defensive ball curling,
yes,
and then he runs out of mana,
right,
and does a struggle,
he'll fuck you up. Yeah,
he'll fuck you up. If you have a high level, if you have a very high level Pokemon struggling, is that what you're telling me?
Oh, no, I just mean any Pokemon. Like, as long as you can keep it alive, keep throwing potions in it. I mean, I'm getting pretty Pokemon nerdy here. I mean, you could do that. But what the real pros do is two things. You could either send that Magikarp off to the nursery and leave it there because it'll get levels while you're away. And then you come back, level it up once, and it becomes Gyarados. Like, it evolves into Gyarados, right?
Is that that's not a rock? What's Gyarados? Oh, it's a big fish.
It's just a big dragon thing. Magikarp turns into a big Gyarados. The idea is that this useless fucking thing that all it does is splash. Its only move is splash, turns into like a fucking beast Pokemon, right? But you have to give it time and love and all that sort of jam. The other strat you can do is you can make it your first person that you send out. So whenever you meet a trainer, it'd be like, dun, 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 and you'd be like, go Magikarp. And then immediately before it moves, you'd go bring it out, put your big boy in, put your Charmeleon out there and fuck up everybody. And
but he shares the experience. Yeah. For doing nothing, really. For just copping a whack.
For just being there.
Not even been there, yeah. Just looked at him. Just looked at him.
Doesn't even cop a whack, yeah.
Bit like the Volkanovski dirty eye squint. You're just there.
Yeah, getting the XP. Yeah.
But he did the damage. So he rained down Hammer Fist upon They weren't Hammer Fists, they were hooks. He was just mounted, not mounted, but he was standing in the guard and just raining down big hooks. Yeah.
And he won the fight, and he's the man. And
so who's he lost to then?
Who's he lost to?
Yeah.
Only the guy he fought at lightweight. So he went up a division to fight for the lightweight belt, and that was Islam Makhachev, and he lost to him. If you want to see his previous loss, you have to go back to pretty much 2013, which was just some
was he even? Yeah, okay, it's a long time. Because what's his? Because obviously he's Australian, but his parents Australian? Is his my question is Volk is Russian for wolf? I'm pretty sure.
Nah.
You don't think Volkanovski? That doesn't sound like.
It could be wolf related, but it's not Russian.
No. I was just wondering if it's
His father was born in the village of Beranki in Macedonia, now North Macedonia, while his mother is from Greece.
Okay, it's a bit of an Eastern European thing going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the Volk part could well be wolf. Yeah, absolutely.
It just occurred to me the other day. I saw it in a book and I thought of Volkanovski. I don't know why.
Okay, there you go. The rest of the card, though, I will say that overall the card was the bloodiest affair I've seen ever. Like the main card was just, just the bloodiest card I've ever seen.
Now, was the blood on the sponsorship logos on the floor, though?
That's what they want, right? That's what they want. They want a big pool of blood around their beer logo.
Yeah. So did anyone get their face smashed in like right on the logo?
There was so much blood on the canvas that no one really got a blood advantage from an advertising perspective, right? No one really. They all broke even on the blood because it was pretty gnarly. But really great fights. There was the other title fight was just a barn burner.
Who was that?
They went to town. It was a guy named Alexander Pontoya and Brandon Moreno. He's a Mexican champion. He got dethroned in a really good split decision back and forth. Robert Whittaker lost to this.
Did he?
This bloke, named Dricus Duplessis. And Dan Hooker, he's this Kiwi guy, really good kickboxer.
Yes.
He beat this guy by decision, split decision. His opponent actually didn't make weight, so he would have picked up a bit of extra dollary dues as well, just from his purse. Yeah. Which, when that happens, you want the guy's purse to be like $500,000, don't you? Because you take 20% of that. But if he's only making like $50,000 or something, then you only get like 10 or something. But the point is that you get a bit of that purse. He gets kicked in the head in the first round. Dan Hooker gets kicked in the head by his opponent, Jalen Turner. So hard, man. It looked like a baseball bat. It sounded like two baseball bats colliding at high speed. And it was awful. And in the second round, he went for the same kick and Hooker blocks it. And the fight goes on for 3 rounds, right? Yeah. And after the fight, because Joe Rogan was like talking during the fight, just saying, man, his arm's broken. Like, it's got to be. His arm's broken. So he goes into the octagon and the first thing he says to him, he says, that was a great fight. Is your arm broken? And he goes, it's just a scratch. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. So, it turns out he broke his wrist.
Did you say Hooker won?
Yeah, he won.
In the decision, wow. Was it? Yeah. What did you say? How many rounds? Was
it 3 rounds. 3 rounds. And it was a split decision.
Split decision. Oh, okay. So there were 2 split decisions?
Yep, 2 splits on the main card.
2 splitties, all right.
But I think both times the right person won. I'm not scoring the fights a lot when I watch them. I'm just watching them.
Yeah.
So when it comes time for the decision, I never really know. I can say who I think won the fight, but barn burners, the lot of them. It was a good card. But it made me think, man. I was watching it with the guys, and I just said, I just can't see a world where this can go on much longer. This sport,
you reckon?
With the concerns around CTE hitting the NFL, the AFL.
Yeah,
it's all about head knocks. I heard the other day that they think the majority of head knocks actually occur in training. Because you're training, you're training hard. You want to do the right thing. Think of how much training head knocks MMA fighters are getting, right? That's literally, it's a byproduct of football and NFL. It's a byproduct of head collisions and stuff. But in fighting, that's the whole thing. Punch him in the head.
Yeah. But they try not to get punched in the head much in training, do they? Like they sort of...
You're sparring at 30% or something. I don't know if that's okay, because I think there's you probably have accumulative damage, where you just keep getting these little knocks. It's probably not good for you either.
It's a good point about how long it's going to last.
No. It's going to last. It's going to last because we just need to make some little modifications.
It's going all the way, is it?
No. We just need to make some modifications to the sport. I've got some ideas.
Oh, great.
So get rid of head. Any punching into the head, kicking to the head, done. Right?
Okay.
Now, we need to talk about the rest of the body, though, because there's certain fouls in MMA, isn't there? Can you name a foul, something that you can't do?
Yeah, a 12-6 elbow.
Yep. Okay. Yep. That's
Kicking
one of the fouls. Yep. What's
kicking
another
them
one?
in the balls.
Kicking him in the balls, right? Now, that seems to hurt the fighters a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's like, if
they
you
call
ever watch,
time.
Yeah. If I'm ever in a fight now, not that I get in fights, but I know what to go for. I've watched enough UFC. You go straight for the balls. Don't worry about it.
I got a theory on that.
Yeah.
These guys, when they get kicked in the balls, they get 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes to recover. Now, they'll push and say, no, I'm fine, and they'll get back into it early, sure, right?
Yeah, sometimes
they're
you need a
allowed
lifetime.
5 minutes.
You need a lifetime.
They're allowed 5 minutes. Okay? I think it hurts more because you're not allowed to do it, right? These guys, the adrenaline's pumping, and because they're allowed to feel it, because it was illegal, they're allowed to feel it, they do feel it.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a placebo thing. Like you can't. This is the prohibited zone. No one's allowed to touch you there. And then you cop a knock.
There.
Yeah, and you're extra sensitive now because it's kind of like infringing upon your rights.
Yes, it's unfair, and it's unfair.
Unfair.
So we make kicking in the dick legal.
Oh no.
Yes.
Please no.
Yes.
I don't want to watch it anymore.
No, neither does anybody. Right? You would get a lot of TKOs via dick kick, right? You get a lot of them. The card would be full of them. They're the new knockout, right?
Okay.
You got specialists. Right. You got dick kicking specialists, guys that have been kicking dicks. You got guys who are specialists at being kicked in the dick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like sumo wrestlers, they can suck up their junk.
Like that video of that guy who just fucking, have you seen that? He's like a monk and he's like trying to prove he feels no pain. And he's just receiving multiple shins to the fucking balls, man. He's not even fucking flinching.
You get a whole new breed of fighters.
This is what I'm talking about.
They would adapt.
Eunuchs. Yeah.
I could see eunuchs out there.
Submissions. Dick submissions.
No, okay, now I'm out again. You drew me all the way back in and now I'm out. No. What are you going to do? Give me like a twister, like pull on it. What? This is crazy.
A triangle.
But no, they're wearing a cup though. How are you going to get at it?
They're still wearing a cup.
Maybe you could sort of lever the cup out of the way or something and get a testicle in your fist.
Snap it back in the middle.
Oh, but then you don't want to see guys fight through that, do you?
No, that'll be the whole sport, right? You'd have the dick specialists just being champs in every category. Yeah, you don't want that.
I feel a bit sick.
So we want to have people getting knocked out then. Is that what you're saying? That's barbaric.
No, I thought we were going to make both zones. I thought we were going to make both zones illegal. I thought you were going to say, like we've had the dick, I was going to call it a fanny. I don't know. I'm thinking now the groin area. Like you can't go at anyone's groin, even in the female sport. It probably hurts a lot. It probably hurts a lot.
Not allowed.
I can't empathize with that. I don't really know what's going on there.
Sure.
But
You shouldn't kick people in general. It's a bit of a rule.
No, and so they've made one zone a no-go. So I thought they were going to make two zones. You're just saying, no, there should only be one no-go zone and we should remove it.
Yeah, I think they should do the studies and find out if repeated kick to the dick is like really dangerous. If it is dangerous, then of course they have to outlaw it.
Well, it's not
for
going
the
to
same
reduce
reason
your
as CTE.
It's not going to reduce your life expectancy, I don't think.
Well, we don't know, do we? No one's done the studies.
No, but it's just kind of common sense. Oh, mate, you're right. Actually, if you damage, there's a lot of hormones going on being created. So if you start damaging the organ itself, it might not be communicating as well with everything else. Okay. All right.
We just need to do the studies like they're doing their due diligence right now with the head knock stuff, and they just need to do the same thing for the dong.
Well, maybe this is what UFC is going to degenerate into, or maybe there'll be some kind of merge between UFC and the competitive endurance tickling franchise.
It reminds me of South Park episode, the Sarcastaball thing, where Randy invents a new sport because NFL's getting too dangerous. But Randy has this problem where he can't stop being sarcastic, and he says, instead of like chasing a football, why don't the kids chase a balloon? And instead of tackling, they just hug each other.
And they pass the balloon around and everyone's hugging. And
you have to give someone a compliment. And the story is that Butters becomes really like the best at the game. He becomes like the Tom Brady of the game because it's finally a sport that he can actually get on board with. You know, he grabs
lovely.
The balloon and he goes, "You're looking so nice today," and then walks to the next person and they're all just hugging each other. That's the whole game.
And he's just unstoppable.
And he goes to the end zone. He's just like, "This is the best game ever."
He's the Tom Brady of the balloon game.
So good. And because in that episode, the NFL adopt Sarcastaball because CTE and it's too dangerous to play regular NFL. So we're all going to play this game where everyone holds balloons and just hugs each other. Good episode. I need to watch more South Park.
I do. There's lots of things I need to do. I have, just so you know, I have started The Mandalorian. Restarted because I watched about 8 of the episodes and I just kind of.
You've actually restarted though.
I've restarted.
Catch up?
Nah, I've restarted. I've just got. No, I need to rewatch it. It looks just. I forgot how good it looks. It's amazing. I wanted all the backstory. I wanted to fully follow the story and understand it. I knew I'd be coming in half baked if I just continued. I didn't even know where I was.
Understood. I understand that. What I like to do in those situations is go to find maybe an episode behind, rewatch an episode that I have maybe seen before, but it's because I'm lazy and I didn't want to put in that extra 6 hours, I guess.
It was a long time ago, so.
Fair enough. Rewatch it. Can't hurt. Just yourself?
Yeah, just me. I just restarted my Disney Plus account. And one reason I did it is with the wife, I'm going to watch Dope Sick.
Okay, what's that? Oh, is that about is that what it sounds like?
Oxycodone.
Oh, okay.
Is it Oxycontin? Oxycontin? Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it.
One of the two.
Yeah.
I think they interchange it. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear oxycodone. Like, I don't know. Who the fuck knows? But apparently it's great. So, and I've heard Joe Rogan talk about it a couple of times in passing. And
Joe Rogan's a big Disney guy?
Is he? Then it got recommended to me by one or two. Well, they don't have, it's not on Disney Plus there. I heard him say it was on Hulu.
Right.
Man, do you know where it came from? He was talking to Robert Francis Kennedy, RFK.
Oh, yeah.
The son of Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby Kennedy, yeah.
And nephew of JFK.
Yeah.
Have you listened to that one?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, pretty interesting, hey?
Sure.
Pretty interesting because he's into his he's got a book about it's called The Real Anthony Fauci, and it's kind of, you know, as you can imagine, he's a bit of a vaccine skeptic.
Yeah, look, he is, and I don't blame him for being a bit conspiratorial given what happened to his uncle and his father.
I know, right?
I can understand being skeptical about pretty much everything if that was your upbringing, and I'd be interested to know what his views on his old man and
he doesn't
uncle.
talk too much about that in this one.
That would come up. You would have thought that would come up at some point, though.
No, he must have an interview
where Joe Rogan talks about it with him.
Yeah, but not in depth. Just in passing. Now, he focused more on the vaccine stuff because you can't do it on other platforms because it gets pulled.
What do you mean other platforms? Spotify?
It doesn't get pulled off Spotify because it's Joe Rogan and he's got an arrangement. with them. He has his guests.
I don't know about that, because when he got the Spotify deal, they deleted a bunch of episodes and didn't.
No, they did, but I think he has a bit more control. I don't know. He has a little bit more control. So apparently, because RFK is running for president
again, yeah.
Yep, I didn't know he had.
Hadn't he? Didn't he run in?
Oh, he may have. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. He might have. He didn't sound like it just from what I heard, but pretty interesting, because when someone you don't really agree with their position from the outset, but they just are quite rational and make quite good logical points, and as you go on, you start coming around a little bit. You need a counter. Like, you want someone else there to be offering what seems to be a more balanced.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan's just a guy. He's listening, sure,
yeah,
but
he adds a bit. But it was pretty fascinating, and I was like getting on board with some of the things he said. Then he started talking about potentially Wi-Fi radiation causing being, so people, you can have an allergy to Wi-Fi and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. Now it's getting a little bit far out there for me, but pretty fascinating, worth a listen. I thought it was really, really good. And
I feel fine around the Wi-Fi, but I don't know. Maybe.
I feel fine.
Maybe I'm okay.
I've never heard about that, but worth a listen.
I should have a look.
He's got this really horsey voice.
But I don't blame him. Like I said, I don't blame him. I know his voice.
Yeah, his voice is crazy. It sounds like he's been a pack-a-day smoker for about 50 years.
Or he's actually got like a throat problem, like an actual condition.
Potentially. Yeah, you get used to it.
Yep.
But his point is, he's not saying the vaccines are bad necessarily. He's saying that there's not enough research about a lot of these things, and there's a bit of conflicting scientific data that needs to be looked into. That's basically, in a nutshell, what he's saying. He's not saying it's just that. He's saying that his children are living in a toxic soup. He's pointing the finger at a lot of things that need to be looked at. He doesn't know which one is solely, if it's probably not one thing, is his point. There's probably a lot of these things, but he rattles off about 5 or 6, because Joe's saying, so what are these, what are these other things? And he does mention lastly the Wi-Fi one, and Joe starts quizzing him on that, because I think he was a bit, like everyone else is, a bit surprised by that one sneaking in there. We did find an article about it giving you leaky brain or something, but who knows how
leaky brain.
Yeah, leaky brain makes your blood-brain barrier more permeable to certain things. Your blood-brain barrier basically keeps out the vast majority of things.
Okay, yep.
It's a very protective, it's a very special area of your body where a lot of things don't get through your blood-brain barrier. Only very small drugs seem to get their way through, and that apparently Wi-Fi might cause that to somehow become more permeable, so more things can pass through, which is problematic, because obviously it's trying to keep things out.
Right, but what does it know? It's just a brain. It's only evolved over millions of years. Like, what does it know, mate?
Yeah, maybe we didn't have Wi-Fi back then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no. That's interesting. So he'll be running as a Democrat, obviously.
Oh, and so he reckons, I can tell what's going on is Joe reckons that his stuff is starting to get pulled now because he's running for president. So he did a hotboxing episode with Mike Tyson that had been up with for some time. He had been on Theo Von's podcast quite a few times, and they had been up for more than a year. And now that he's running, he reckons, he goes, oh man, they're going through and pulling things just to reduce exposure and just to reduce your footprint.
Who's pulling it? YouTube or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he'd be a bit of a Donald Trump type candidate. Obviously, he'd be running as a Democrat, because that's the party his family has been associated with. But he's kind of like a Democrat version of Donald Trump in some ways. Yeah, because he'd be shaking up the system, because he's not really. He says
but he's got a lot of things that like the overall Democrat Party wouldn't really support, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I guess that makes him like Trump, like you said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Donald Trump wanted to do some pretty unpopular stuff too.
And he thinks that RFK reckons that this podcast medium might be something that he can utilize because it's a bit more long form. He sort of identified that Donald Trump got on the Twitter, like the Twitter platform was quite good to him because he could express himself in a way that other politicians couldn't. And he sort of got a lot of publicity that way. He already had a base
as well. Before he even started, people knew who he was and followed him and, wouldn't mind going through the treasure trove that is Donald Trump's Twitter and seeing when he started popping off on the Twitter, when he started actually posting all the time or something. Because, it was a campaign thing, wasn't it? It was a campaign tool for him.
Yeah, in some ways, Bobby Kennedy Jr. has a similar platform in that he's known through his family name. So I think that instantly gets him a bit of a seat at the table. When you've had family members assassinated,
yep,
one of them a sitting president,
yep,
it starts to you're taken with a bit more. Like if I was running and I had the same voice and all the same ideas and everything, I probably don't even get the same. I don't get the same seat at the table.
Here's a weird one.
Yeah,
he's married.
Yes.
To Cheryl.
Yeah. Cheryl who?
Cheryl Hines, who is Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David's on-screen wife. No.
Really?
That's his wife.
He was talking about Cheryl because he wanted her to say hello. And that's one thing he's worried about running because he doesn't want the pressure to come on her because obviously when you're the wife of someone running for president,
of course. But that's like
Cheryl from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Wow,
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I love her.
She's been on that show for 23 years.
She's so good in that. She's fantastic.
Curb Your Enthusiasm's been running for 23 years.
I had no idea. I've only watched the first maybe 10 seasons. So there's 23 seasons.
No. There's not 23 seasons. There's only 11 seasons, but it's been running since the year 2000. That's wild.
Good bloody show though.
Great show. And it's still going strength to strength. I'm just looking at its Rotten Tomatoes score. It's, the most recent seasons are posting very good. There was a lull in season 9, but that's about it. It's all 90%.
So good. Oh. It's so good.
Such a good show. Wow, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Can't believe that. So Cheryl's married to Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything from that I don't want to go into the vaccine stuff because probably won't do our episode any favors on YouTube. Because, he lays it all out. He says that he does a whole maybe an hour and a half of the 3-hour podcast is the whole thing. And he says, no one's allowed me to do that. He says back in 2005, he was on like Colbert or something. Yeah. And he did something similar, but he just says too many times people often they don't want to be associated with it, or they're worried about they might be doing some sort of self-censoring because they're worried about either their channel because you get strikes. Like Theo Von got a strike. He doesn't even think they were talking about anything like that. And he's been trying to get from YouTube what it was that they were talking about that was the problem. Because they were talking about homing pigeons and stuff. Apparently, they did a whole episode on training.
I mean, you got to do your due diligence as well, right? You're always the guy saying, "I need to see the guy who looks at his argument," right?
Yeah.
You can't the thing about the Joe Rogan thing is it's a conversation between two people, but really, Joe's there to listen to whatever the guest is going to say, right?
He's not going to put him on. He's not going to put him on too much. He'll want to understand.
Yeah, but of course. But he's also going to provide them the means to which they can say their piece, right?
Yeah, he just lets them talk. They're the expert in their own mind.
And in a perfect world, you'd have someone else there who could be a bit of a foil to
Yeah, well, Robert Kennedy Jr. says he's been asking for a debate for 18 years. No one will debate him. That is his platform. And he said on the show, he says, anyone that wants to debate me, I'm ready. He says he's turned up to things before, which he thinks are quite unfair formats, where they all get there'll be 5 experts and you all get 6 minutes. But the other 4 people are all at odds to what his position is. So he's outnumbered from a time point of view. It's not fair. In terms of they're not getting, he's never had a one-on-one. And he says he turns up at these things many times, flies in, and they've all been told, or they just don't turn up, and he's just there by himself. He reckons one time Donald Trump put him on a commission to sit down with Fauci. So Fauci had to sit down with him and talk about, I don't know what there's something to do with vaccines. And he asked Fauci, show me one time when a vaccine has been put through certain pre-implementation safety procedures. I don't know what they are. I have no idea what he's talking about. And he reckons Fauci was looking through his little book for a while, and he said, I'll send him to, he goes, I couldn't find what he's looking for, but I'll send one to you later. And a year later, he never got anything. And he sued Fauci, and eventually got a letter from him saying that, no, we don't have any evidence of any of these pre-implementation safety things. I don't know what it is to do with vaccine. I don't know what it is. As I said, haven't even looked into it.
Sure.
But it was fascinating. And Joe Rogan makes a good point. At the beginning of the episode, he says, I've read your book, and the thing that stands out to me is if this book was not true, he does not understand how he has not been sued. Which is fascinating. Mm-hmm. It's a good point. It's not saying it's true, but no one would. The book sold more than 1 million copies. In 3 months, it sold more than 1 million copies. Apparently, it's doing quite well. And he makes the point, he thinks it's absent from the bestseller list, like it's purposely being, and a lot of bookstores don't stock it. He said the only reliable place you can get it's really Amazon. Mm. So he thinks he's being suppressed somewhat as well, but he would.
Totally.
So he's fascinating because he reminds me of Donald Trump in the sense that if he got in, there's some things he wants to unwind, like the way that he thinks that the pharmaceutical industry has captured the regulatory body. So he doesn't think the regulatory body is independent in the slightest.
Yeah.
Which happens quite often, he reckons. It's called corporate capture. And he thinks he's the master of unwinding corporate capture. So this is one of the things he's running on. But he says he's not going to talk about it with anyone else because the videos get pulled and things like that. So he goes, look, he's glad that he's laid it out. And he goes, I'm running on other policies. But that's his position on vaccines at least.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It was funny though, because it reminds me of, at one point in time, the idea of the COVID lab leak was almost not allowed to be spoken about.
Yeah.
Now it gets spoken about a bit more, to the point that...
It's still getting talked about in the same circles though.
Do you don't think it's more mainstream?
Nope.
I think it is.
I think it's a possibility, but
because
I think it's still the same side of the media that's still doing that.
Oh, I'm surprised. I think I've heard it elsewhere and from friends as well, which was surprising. Where people think that it's a real possibility. It's not just something that's. It was originally when it was put out said no, there's no way it was from the lab. And now it's a bit more of a maybe. It could be, but we don't know.
I think it's fair to say that the world was freaking out 3 years ago, actually just freaking out everywhere. Governments were freaking out too, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that.
Yep. And, maybe it was just also that when the aliens come, we've had a world-changing event in our lifetime, so we can deal with that one too. Maybe it's all for that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how things change over time, like the perception of it, just because sometimes I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in time in the future, because the longer that we go on and we can't identify the natural source, the natural reservoir of the virus, the more likely it is that it was a lab leak.
Yeah. I mean, is there any definitive conclusion as of today, like definitive, where they said, no, this is it?
Well, we might not ever have a definitive conclusion, but the longer it goes on where they can't find the natural reservoir of the virus, the more likely it is that there is none.
Wouldn't the same be true if it was, at the wet market for potentially? Because the evidence is going to go away there too, right? Eventually.
Oh no, because there has to be a natural reservoir of that led to there has to be an evolution of the virus that you'll find elsewhere. Like it might take time, but you'll find its origins elsewhere. Whereas at the moment there's just a break in the chain of causation. There's no evolutionary history that would suggest that this thing is possible.
Okay.
And so I've heard from people before, who knows if they're right or wrong, saying that the longer it goes on and they can't find the source of this, because they're the ones saying it came from a natural spillover. So that's the position, is it's a natural spillover. That's the mainstream position. The longer it is that you can't actually substantiate that, the more likely it is that it's come from another source.
Sure.
Because it is so foreign, the way it, genetically speaking, it's foreign from things that occur in nature.
Interesting.
Yeah, and in more bleak things.
Oh yeah, go on.
Earth, did you hear Earth experienced its hottest day on record?
I didn't hear that.
We did it. I think congratulations is in order.
Yeah, okay. Well, give yourselves a pat on the back. What happens then? What does that mean? Is that sort of just the path that we're on now?
Oh, well, I mean, it's just another data point, isn't it? That's all I think of it. It's interesting that we've had the hottest day on record. But that's the extent of it.
You said it was bleak.
Well, it's bleak in the sense that it's arguably evidence of global warming. And it's the trajectory, yeah. So what's going on with the rainfall? Because over Easter, right, what did we have? What's an El Nino and a La Nina?
It's something to do with the way that the winds are in the ocean or something.
Yeah, and something to do with rainfall and
something to do with that. And you're either in an El Nino period or you're in an El Nina, which is the feminine version. You got the Nino and the Nina.
Yeah.
And they have differing effects. But it's going to be roughly the same as the other times.
For the first time in 7 years, El Nino conditions have developed in the tropical Pacific.
I presume it's cyclical. Like if there's 7 years and then 7 years and then 7 years.
I don't know. Prompting experts to urge that preparation for extreme weather events will be necessary to protect lives and safeguard livelihoods. El Nino is a naturally occurring climate phenomenon that is connected to ocean surface temperatures in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean.
That's fucking jerks. Yeah.
The United Nations World Meteorological Organization has warned that El Nino conditions signal the possibility of a surge in global temperatures and disruptive weather. The WMO, being the United Nations World, yes, added that there is a 90% probability El Nino conditions will continue into the later half of 2023 and until the end of the year. The last major El Nino event occurred in 2016, a year that remains the joint hottest 12 months on record, tied with 2020.
Oh, so maybe it doesn't last all that long. Maybe it lasts, then you go back into another one. I don't know.
Yeah, 2016 status as a record hot year due to the double whammy of a powerful El Nino event and the effect of greenhouse gases on climate change. According to the WMO, the 8-year period containing 2016 and 2023 has been the hottest since record keeping began in 1880. Oh, and there's a little weather pattern. So, okay. So the dry. Okay, so the La Nina was what happened last year when the East Coast got absolutely destroyed by rain. But we're in an El Nino, which has it's wet over the Pacific. Let me send you this. Just so you have a little look-see.
But there's El Ninos and El Ninas. Is there ever just nothing?
Yeah.
So what? Nothing. It's just reg.
Just not neither of those two things.
Right.
So La Nina. Okay, so what's the difference between El Nino and La Nina? Both events start in the Pacific Ocean, but they're the opposites in almost every other way. La Nina means little girl.
Yes.
Don't know why there's a little girl in the Pacific Ocean.
Well, Nino's a boy.
Why is there a little boy in there?
It's just a Spanish name for that.
It's not even near Spain.
I don't think there's any sinister going on. I don't think there's actual people in the ocean doing this. I don't think we have to worry too much about some Little Mermaid-like character whipping up fucking storms in the world.
A little Poseidon. At least there's no, it's going to be dry. Like no one really likes too much rain. It was a little bit too wet last year for the East Coasters' liking. So I think this is an improvement, right? Hot and dry.
Yeah, but we can't just look through the world through the prism of how things going in the backyard, can we?
Oh, no, we can.
No, we can't.
We can.
Nope.
Local weather conditions. Yeah, so I mean that's where we're heading.
Great. So talk to me about the Mando. So how many episodes did you watch of it?
To be honest, I'm only halfway through the first one where he gets his little shoulder plate. He gets to do down payment for something he's done, and he gets this little block of metal, and it gets melted down. Beskar, is that what it is?
That's what it's called.
And it's just nice. Is that nice?
Very
high
strong,
grade,
very strong metal.
Yeah,
it can reflect a bolt from a blaster. I imagine. I imagine you're pretty bulletproof in it.
So he's got a very tough right shoulder at the moment.
Very tough. Okay, and that's all we know.
Yeah, and he wants cash. He's a bit cash poor.
Yeah.
So he's looking for a good bounty.
Yeah.
He's been given. I recall bits and pieces of
Has
when
he
I
met
watched last
that
time.
dude? Yeah, the dude.
He's just met Lando.
Oh, and it's not Lando.
Oh, it looks like him.
No. It's just another.
It's a bit earlier, isn't it?
No, because Werner Herzog's in the first episode.
Who's
like
that?
the famous German filmmaker.
Oh.
And he's acting. He's great. He's an actor in other stuff as well. He made Grizzly Bear. You know the guy who made Grizzly Bear? Like what? Grizzly Man? Grizzly Man. The documentary?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know the guy who's like listens to the tape with the lady and goes, "You need to destroy this tape."
So who's he play?
Listen to that.
Who's he playing?
He plays a guy. If you haven't seen it yet, you probably will.
Yeah,
But he's in the first step. Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, wait, is he the dude that's giving him the mission?
Yeah, he's the Mish guy.
Oh, the Mish guy's wearing this gold medal around his neck. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I met him. So that's what's his name?
Yeah, Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog. Yeah, okay. So who was the guy that looked like Lando Calrissian that he was talking to?
I can't remember his name in the show, but he's just a friend.
Oh man, he's a spitting image. now that you say
this is set after Return of the Jedi, so I guess Lando could have been around. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he got out of there okay. It could well have been. Hey, let's recast Lando, but it wasn't. They're going to use as many of the actors as they can. They would have brought him back if they were doing that. In that they did for the episode 9. Lando was in that.
Yes, no, that's exciting, and
Yeah, a whole new world. Yeah.
yeah. So that'd be good. And I saw something that interested me actually. Okay, so I mean, you like a good planetary alignment, don't you?
Sure. Love a good planetary alignment. Where are we talking?
In the solar system.
Yeah, yeah. Recent.
Yeah. So we've got. Well, this is the problem actually. So we got one coming up. We got a mini evening alignment of Mars, Venus, and Mercury on the 22nd of July. I mean, that's nothing to write home about, I don't think.
Oh, it's pretty good because that's like, they're the ones in our backyard, right?
Yeah. I think. Look, I'm excited, but it's coming up, so who knows? It's probably pretty common. I'm just going to go through. There's one. January next year, mini morning alignment of Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Same guys, same characters.
Yeah,
all just aligning. So then this is on this NASA page, and then there's the most anticipated planetary alignments. I thought, here we go. So September 8, 2040, 5 naked eye planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, will align in the sky. The crescent moon will also be visible, positioned between Venus and Saturn.
I think I see the picture. Oh, no, this is between Venus and Mars. Okay. Yeah, go on.
That sounds pretty cool. And then we got what I'm going for. This is what I'm gunning for. 15 March 2080.
2080? Yep.
Yeah. 6 planets.
Right.
Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and Uranus will be visible in the morning sky. This alignment is especially remarkable because it will feature the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, which will only be 6 arc minutes apart. I think that means they're almost on top of each other.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And then we have 6 May 2492.
2492. Okay, put it in the calendar.
All solar system planets, including Earth, will gather on one side of the sun. Doesn't sound that good. In the Earth sky, the planetary alignment will be seen just after sunset.
Sounds like a good time. And that's all the planets getting together.
Yeah, that's all of them. But then
it's a bit of a reunion for the boys.
It is a reunion.
And girls.
And so that's in 2492, okay? Now get this next line. Kind of made me fall off my seat. Last time all 8 planets aligned was December 28, 2022.
We just missed it.
The planets gathered within 153 degrees sky sector. The alignment was visible right after sunset.
Yep, and then see you in 2400.
Yeah.
Yeah. BRB.
I was
400 years.
I was like looking at me like, that would have been sick. 2492, that's a shame. And then I come across 2022. What was I doing?
December. It was like 6 months ago.
Oh, shit. Can we get a photo of that or something?
I'm sure there's something on the internet.
I was sleeping. Was anyone else on that?
I mean, imagine if you missed one back in the day before the internet. You're a bigger, astronomy fan, and you just miss your alarm or whatever. It's gone.
It's gone. 500 years later.
I mean, is it gone though? How long would it take for these things to separate? Surely you can't just miss it by a day, right? A day. If you were a day late, right? If you looked at it tomorrow, it's probably going to be similar, right? Isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's within, you have a few days for it, they reckon.
Few days,
say,
great.
Yeah.
You miss the first day, catch the second one maybe. It's like a 3-day test match, You don't have to watch all of it. Fuck.
Hey, now that I see it, they're not super lined up. I don't really get it. They're kind of, they're lined up, they're across the sky.
Yeah, I think you were imagining more of a Space Odyssey lineup, weren't you? Where they're sort of all together.
But if Earth's in the alignment, then you won't be able to see, because you're in the line, you can't see forward and backwards. You know what I mean? If Earth's a part of the alignment. Sure. What you want is the alignment. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. But we missed it. That's all I know.
Yeah, by 7 months. Unlucky. Just make it for the next one. Just put it in the calendar this time and put an alarm.
I've got a good little tidbit of information you might like as well. So what do you reckon the chances are you stand in one, so you just go stand out the front of your house.
Yep.
You look up at the sun all day, every day.
Right.
How long will it take?
Don't do that, by the way.
How long will it take on average
Yeah.
for a solar eclipse to pass on your location on the Earth?
How long? If I just stared at the sun, which you're not meant to do.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
How long before a solar eclipse?
A total solar eclipse as well. None of that partial bullshit.
From where I am?
Yeah, just any position on the Earth. What's the average? How often does it happen on average?
Anywhere on the Earth, maybe one a year.
It's once every 375 years. Like this is a total solar eclipse, like what happened up in Exmouth.
Yeah.
So it will
BRB,
occur.
see you in 100 years.
375 years.
That's way too many. I feel like I've seen like a bunch of eclipses. Obviously, there's lunar eclipses, there's partial eclipses, blah blah blah. I've seen a bunch, right?
Yeah.
But
You've probably
I've
seen partial
none.
eclipses. Yeah. Well. Yeah. This just says on average. Maybe you've been really lucky.
Maybe.
You've been really lucky.
Just me.
So the longest ever eclipse has been 7 minutes and 4 seconds in a location. So the Great American Eclipse that's next year that we talked about, they're going to be getting about 4 minutes in a lot of places, which is pretty good.
That's right. The one where they're one-upping us. They're going for the big one.
We only got 1 minute.
That doesn't really line up, does it?
Yeah. What do you mean?
But we had one just this year.
No,
we got another one next year.
In different locations on the Earth. So this is, I was asking for the average that a total solar eclipse would happen at a specific location.
Right.
So if it happens in America,
anywhere on Earth, I was doing anywhere on Earth.
Yeah, if you move around, then you can find a total solar eclipse anyway. But if you sit outside the front of your house,
right,
and wait for a total
375 years, right? Got it.
So apparently the maximum is 7 minutes and 31 seconds. That's it hasn't happened. The longest ever was in 1973, and it was 7 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yeah, and then there would have been some in antiquity, right?
Yes.
What the fuck would they have been thinking?
I think the sun had gone out or something. Yeah.
I think they would think something terrible's happening. Or something great. Who knows? Right? They might have saw it as a good omen.
I don't think you see as light receding as a good omen.
But it's more like maybe it's a proof of God concept. Maybe you look at that, he makes the world dark, and then you start seeing the light peer through again. And you're like,
okay.
Oh, the reveal.
He's back. The second
big
coming.
Reveal. Yeah.
Okay. Christ has returned.
Sun worship makes sense.
So much sense.
sense.
I'm a sun worshipper now. Hey, I'm on it.
You are?
I love the sun. Yeah.
I'm a fan of what it does for me. I think it's done a lot for me in particular.
I can't get my head around how much energy that thing's producing.
Most of it just being wasted to the universe, right?
The vast majority, yeah.
We say wasted. I mean, there's nothing to slow down or stop the heat, right? So is it heating stuff out there in the middle of nowhere, in the deep space? Is it getting there?
Oh, not much.
No.
Not much.
So it's not doing anything. So we should really be sphering it up and getting all the juice out of it, right?
I reckon. I think we should.
Right,
Dyson sphere, yeah.
Dyson sphere. Okay, we can do that. We can do that, I guess.
I just can't believe that all energy on this Earth has, well, I guess there's chemical energy, but that's come from the sun as well. It all comes from the sun. And the cross-section that the Earth is, like relative, if you're standing on the sun and you look out at Earth, it would look like this tiny speck. The sun's energy is radiating out 360 degrees and some. I'm trying to figure out what dimension are we talking in all directions.
Yeah. That's not 360 degrees anymore, is it?
No, I don't even really.
There's got to be a better word for that. Let's just say emanating from it.
In all directions, and we're just getting the tiniest.
Yeah, we just catch a little glimpse.
We're just a little
planet. We're just a little planet. We only need a little bit.
And that little bit has done all this. Yeah, I just can't.
Well, the chemicals inside, right, of the sun also present on Earth, right? So,
yeah, and then, so I mean, I have trouble getting my head around that. But then, also the Earth is like the center of the Earth's as hot as the sun's surface.
You know what blows my mind?
Does that not blow your mind?
Yeah, but we've made nukes and stuff, right? And the nukes, when they're doing their thing, it burns hotter than the sun. Something that we created, humans, burns hotter than the sun.
Yeah, I believe that because we're using some tech. We're implementing some tech. We're talking about an Earth that's just sitting there, no tech involved. And
we're talking about something that fits in a truck, mate. We're talking about something that fits in a truck.
Years.
No,
it's
we're
been
talking about
for billions of years. It's been burning
no.
hotter than the surface of the sun.
Nah. Something that fits in a truck can burn hotter than the thing that's 3 million kilometers away. You know what I'm saying?
Very localized, tiny little amount.
No. It burns hotter than the center of the sun.
Yeah, but it's not even. It's on a very small scale. It's a couple of atoms.
So that doesn't blow your mind?
No,
that has to blow your mind.
No.
By the way, we should go see Oppenheimer when it comes out.
Oh, we have to.
That'll be huge.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I'm pretty sure a shrimp can create a sonic boom, a pistol shrimp. Aphidae, I've never heard of that. It's a family of snapping shrimp called pistol shrimp. They can produce a little sonic boom with their claw that creates temperatures as hot as the surface of the sun. So I suppose I shouldn't be as impressed by...
I think we need to nuke those things. What are they again? We need to drop the sun on them. Yeah. All right, get them out of here. I've had a gutful. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so the snapping effect. These little pistol shrimp, you hear them in the ocean.
That doesn't sound like the surface of the sun going ham, does it?
So it just with its little claw, it creates a little sonic boom that can disrupt fish. It can create a disturbance in the water that can stun fish. This little snap, so I'll read, this is from Wikipedia. The snap can also produce solar luminescence from the collapsing cavitation bubble. As it collapses, the cavitation bubble emits a short flash of light with a broad spectrum. If the light were of thermal origin, it would require a temperature of the emitter of over 4,700 degrees Celsius. In comparison, the surface of the temperature of the sun is estimated to be around 5,500 degrees Celsius.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I'm starting to not get that impressed anymore. It's like 5,500 degrees. Sounds all right. Is not visible to the naked eye.
No.
So do we need to worry about these things? Sonic booming their way around the bloody ocean?
Well, I mean, we should we should pay a bit of attention, shouldn't we? Because that sounds like if you scale that up to human size.
Right. We've got a problem.
You're like Iron Man that's creating a small...
Clappies.
Clapping the surface of the sun. I mean, that's got to...
It's got to go on a list somewhere. The duration of the click is less than 1 millisecond. That's 1,000th of a second. Wow. Okay. These things are interesting. I need to know more about these things.
They should be licensed at least. Like you should need a license to operate that thing. Yeah.
And we shouldn't have any in private hands. You shouldn't be allowed to own these pistol shrimp.
Certainly not. No.
Sounds dangerous.
No. I mean, firearms, yes. Semi-automatic weapons, yeah. Assault rifles, that's fine.
Totally fine.
But no, the clappy thing, no.
Sonic booms, man. You don't just make sonic booms. What does that mean? Does that mean the clicking is actually faster than the speed of sound? Is that the idea here?
Oh, they clap so fast.
Is that what it is? I don't know.
I don't know what they do, but they're powerful. It mentions the mantis shrimp in this article. Mantis shrimp have something funky going on with their vision as well.
Just before you go into that, when in colonies, the snapping shrimp can interfere with sonar and underwater communication. So when they get in a group, when they form a bit of a posse, they can cause some shit.
There's a story about a sub, I'm pretty sure it was a US sub, that was trying to avoid detection. And they sat down, their little belly down on the bottom of the ocean in a pistol shrimp area because the sound of the pistol shrimp will cover some of the creaks and other things of the sub.
Wow.
Apparently.
Is that true or is that just...
It was on a podcast. That's how I heard about pistol shrimp originally because they were talking about the clapping of the...
Wow.
But yeah, they mentioned mantis shrimp in this.
Yeah, go on.
Who do something similar. They got these little forearms that strike very quickly, but I don't think they create any sonic booms or anything. But they have something going on with their vision, which I was really jealous of.
Yeah, go on. What can they do?
I'm just trying to find out what's going on here. They have like amazing vision. They can see colours that, I think they can see a spectrum of colour that we can only dream of.
Yeah, I think that's similar with bees, right? Bees can see fascinating amounts of more colour so that flowers look amazing to a bee.
Yeah,
they
definitely have
an
a
episode,
shift,
like maybe episode 2 or something of the show, what bees see. And it's fascinating. It's a similar thing. It's like Technicolor, They're looking at like a neon sign when they see a plant.
They can see ultraviolet, yes.
Yes.
But I don't know how good their vision is. I think this is a different kind of vision we're talking about with mantis shrimp. I don't know what. Okay, so I've got a little bit here. So the extreme mobility allow them to be rotated in all 3 dimensions, yet the position of their eyes have shown to have no effect on the perception of their surroundings. They are thought to have the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom and have the most complex front end for any visual system ever discovered. Don't know what that means.
Front end. Sounds like it's a piece of equipment.
Oh, here we go. Compared with the 3 types of photoreceptive cells that humans possess in their eyes, the eyes of a mantis shrimp have between 12 and 16 types of photoreceptor cells.
Mm.
Furthermore, some of the shrimp can tune the sensitivity of their long wavelength color vision to adapt to their environment. This phenomenon called spectral tuning is species specific.
So we need their eyes.
I want their eyes. I want the pistol shrimp's arms.
Mm-hmm. We're building the perfect animal here, but it's all shrimp so far, which I wouldn't have thought. I would have thought there'd be a lion involved, or at least by now. But no, we've got shrimp hands and shrimp eyes.
Yeah, no, I'm on board. I mean, it would be awkward. It'd be awkward for a little bit, but I mean, I could see lots of things.
Maybe some wings. Do you want some bee wings?
Oh, and I'd
take
like
off a bit.
Yeah, and my dog's sense of smell, or dog sense of smell generally.
Why, if dogs' sense of smell is so good, why do they like sniffing each other's bums? Like you can imagine if you had like heightened senses of smell, poo times 10 would not be better.
There's a complexity. No, there's a complexity
yeah, I know. There's
to
nuance, right? There's a bit of how
it's like a fine wine. So we just smell our primitive nostril probably just gets all the gunk and shit, right? Whereas they're detecting auras of heavenly smells, and they can smell things we can't.
They're smelling feelings.
Maybe. Because when you take them for a walk, you can't get them. They're interested in everything. If I start smelling the base of a tree, I'm getting nothing.
Have you tried?
Yeah,
I haven't tried.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just disconnected from our animal instincts. Maybe we need to go back to sniffing stuff more. I'll sniff.
I sniff stuff a lot, actually.
Okay.
I sniff things. I sniff my food a lot because it engages your.
Give me one of those.
Your taste buds. Do it before you eat the next thing you eat. Give it a real good smell. And it activates the taste.
I don't want to have spoilers. I want to be able to put it in my mouth and go, "What does this taste like?"
Yeah.
I don't want a trailer.
It will improve the taste.
Yeah, I get that. What are the bullshit they talk about taste where they say like 80? They'll say something dumb like 80% of taste is smell. And
and then we don't even smell.
That.
We don't even smell.
But you always just go, "Oh yeah, I get that." I don't get that.
No, I don't get that. But if you lose your sense of smell, I think you would realize how important it is.
Yes, I definitely have done that in the past. Because like smoking makes you lose your sense of smell.
Does it?
Yeah.
Or is it just everything else? Is it because everything?
No, it's because it.
Why is that?
It doesn't take you long after you stop smoking to get your sense of smell back. It's really weird.
Okay.
It'll take you like a week and a half after quitting, and it's completely back.
I thought it might be like looking at a really bright light. Like, you can't see well after you've been staring into the high beams of a four-wheel drive. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe because smoking, I thought, is just maybe such an intense smell.
Yeah, there could be
in your face.
There could be an element of that for sure. But a lot of smokers would say they lost their sense of taste and smell, and definitely their taste. And that comes back, like I said, after a week or so. I don't know about smell. I think you definitely still have your sense of smell. But taste is better when you're not a smoker. So that's a tip. Don't start smoking. That's a good one.
Good tip, chef.
Should I see if we got any emails? Because we're about to wrap this up.
Yeah. I need some dinner. I need to smell my...
Yeah, get a good sniff in.
Got a bit of a shashuka going on.
Even if it's just Wheat Bix in the morning and you're putting sugar on it, just have a good smell of it before you get in there. New emails.
I made a cheesecake on the weekend.
Jesus.
Never done that before. Fucking good.
There we go.
Some candied cherries. Tell you about it next week.
Oh. All right. Look forward to it. We'll see you then.